morning, everybody. Nikki Burnett here. Today's Taste Life Nutrition Radio and Podcast streaming live on KUHSdenver.com. Today's going to be super fun. I was at a meeting last week and met up with Dr. Danielle. First time we met was last week, and I was like, I have to have you on the show. Because, yes, she's a chiropractor, which is super cool. We all believe in good, healthy chiropractic. We need that kind of alignment. But what's super cool, too, is we are in alignment in a lot of ways. When it comes to women and pregnancy and fertility and the alignment that's so necessary, and animals, right? And that's a lot of what we're going to get in today. I think we'll probably end up having multiple shows, because we have a lot of things to talk about, and you're doing a lot of really cool things. So, but I think today we really want to, I haven't talked about dogs and horses in a long, don't really talk about horses much, but we talk about dogs periodically, and it was just time to do it again. So, thanks for being here. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited to be here. This is very cool. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, this is going to be so much fun. One of my favorite things to talk about is dogs and how what we learn about how to care for them can often be so backwards. And so we'll get into that today. But first things first, we always start the show with gratitude. And I need to turn my music down. There we go. I fully believe gratitude can change the world. I think it's key to our own mental and emotional health, to our physical health. But then it radiates, right? We're energetic beings, and it's really important for us to, whatever it is, just live as much as possible in that place of gratitude. God is good, and there are a lot of things for us to be grateful for. No matter what your situation is, think of the good things that you're grateful for. So, what are you grateful for today?
I am grateful for my kids and just being able to be closer to them at home while they grow up.
Yeah.
Homeschooling and working at the same time, and very grateful for that.
That's a lot to go to do, is build a practice, own a practice, build a practice, and then homeschool the kiddos, and then your multiple specialties.
Well, my husband's also a chiropractor, so he takes on the brunt of the work at the office, and then I get to do the things I love the most. So that's kind of great.
Cool, very cool. What am I grateful for? I think really right now I'm so grateful for the sunshine. We the sun, it's great. It's great that it's spring. We've got the flowers, and we've got tulips now from the yard sitting on the counter, and I just love it so much. But the sun is so important to health, to life. Life does not exist without the sun, and it's been demonized, to say the least. So I'm grateful that I find when I'm behind my desk and I see a day like today, it gets me outside and it gets me to go to where I can meditate, and it calms me. I always talk about it, or I feel it. To me, it's like God's hugs, right? Because it's this warmth that just surrounds you, and I just love it so much. And so that's my time where sometimes I'll talk to God. Really, though, it's my time that I just try to be quiet and listen. And that's sort of been my theme. My word of the year this year has been listen. And so that's what that helps me to do, is just sort of sit and be quiet and take in the sun, and it just feels so good. So I'm super grateful for it not being cold.
It's beautiful. Yes.
It's so good. Okay, so we're going to jump in. We're going to learn a little bit about Dr. Danielle and what she does as a chiropractor, and then we're going to talk about the fun dog stuff. So let's talk about how you got here and what made you decide on chiropractic. Do you have a journey? Do you have a story? And then we'll move into the fun stuff.
Right, I was a ballet dancer growing up, and I had a lot of aches and pains when I stopped doing ballet. And so I saw a chiropractor, and I was thinking about I want to be a doctor of some sort. Like, I love the human body. I love understanding it. When I realized, my chiropractor taught me that I could do things to help stop the pain and actually keep it away naturally without drugs. I was a huge fan. And she's like, you should consider going to chiropractic school. It ended up being a really good fit for me. I was able to go to Dallas, where my dad lived, and being close to him, I never lived close to him for most of my life, so I was able to be near him and my stepmom, and yeah, and that's where I met my husband at chiropractic school.
Mm-hmm. I think that happens a lot.
It happens a lot, and we share similar values.
Yeah.
When it comes to birth and all these things that I hear a lot of my couples in our practice have a lot of discussions about. I mean, when it comes to birth and parenting and all these other things and nutrition, we are very aligned.
Mm-hmm.
And so it worked out really well in that sense. Yeah. So
awesome.
I got there.
Very cool. So you've had your practice now for 10 years, is that correct?
Yes. Well, yes, we started in after school in 2013. So 12 years total we've been practicing.
Okay.
We actually moved to New Zealand directly after
Oh,
school.
wow.
Yeah. So we were like, we want to live out of the country. My husband wasn't keen on learning a new language. So that ruled out Italy, which was sad for me. But we moved to New Zealand. We bought a practice and a house, and we worked out of our detached garage that we transformed into our studio.
Okay.
And it was beautiful. We had, it's gorgeous there.
Mm-hmm.
We got our permanent residence, and we had 2 of our babies there, 2 home births.
Okay.
And it was beautiful. We moved back to the States because my dad was sick.
Okay.
He had cancer, and we wanted our kids to know our family better, really.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a little hard there and expensive to come back all the time.
I'm sure.
So yeah, we moved back and we settled on Tulsa because my husband's from Tulsa, and it became a beautiful practice there. We had a practice called Tulsa Healing. We expanded. We invited other practitioners into our practice with us, and so we had a naturopath, we had a massage therapist, some energy healers, and it was really a great little collective of people. I was able to do animal chiropractic. My husband focused on the people, and we had 2 more babies there in Tulsa. So it was nice. We didn't quite feel at home though, like it wasn't like the right place for us. I'm originally from Connecticut, and I loved the weather there, except for the darkness. It was so dark a lot, and so my husband loves snowboarding, and so the kids, and so we're thinking where could we really go that we'd really love to be. It would be something like Colorado. So we looked into it, and we ended up just picking up and moving. There's a little bit more to that, but not as important. We love where we are. We're in a suburb of Denver, and our practice is in Wheat Ridge. So we are just starting that up and getting out there and meeting all the people, letting them know that we can help them and their animals.
Yes.
And and all the different things that we can do for them.
Cool.
Yeah.
So jumping ahead a little bit, I think that what I want to make sure is that we're going to talk about the natural birth. We've talked about this in the past. I have a friend of mine she actually said that she is addicted to giving birth.
That is pretty amazing. I would do it over and over again.
Yeah. Which is amazing when you can find that place. So many people do have not so great experiences, and so what are the things that you can do to help to prepare your body, right, for the natural birth? So I think there's so many things that we can do. So we'll talk about that. I think it's a topic that needs to be heard more, right? And in getting out of the fear mindset. I think a lot of times there's a fear mindset.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes what conventional medicine does, is puts us in a fear mindset.
Often.
Yeah. And so what can we do to flip that, right? Get out of the fear mindset. So I think that, since we're going to talk about the dogs first, dogs and horses. And so that's me. I'm like dogs and horses all the way. I don't have any horses anymore, but grew up with horses, and we'll get back to that. My husband gives me a hard time because I still have my saddle in the basement.
Don't get rid of it.
I know.
You may own one.
Yeah.
Or 2. Or more.
Well, that's the thing, is if I get rid of it, it means, in my mind, I know it's silly, it just means I won't have I won't have horses again, and it's top of my list. I'm like, I need space, and I need horses, and I need animals, and so hoping to do that soon. Anyway, right now though, it's dogs. 3 crazy girls that we have, and I'm going to get you to the house because I was saying this earlier, I was doing the promo and I was thinking through, knowing that I need to get my girls adjusted because two of them not multiple times, like a couple of times, it's not good, have actually, they run in the house and they've run into the door.
Yeah.
Right? And so what is that doing? It's compressing their spine at minimum, right? And so I need to get you in sooner, like soon, because that stuff, it sits on me. I'm like, what has happened to their little back and their neck? So how did you go from regular chiropractic, because it's another certification, right?
Yeah.
To do, is it a license or a certification, or is it a?
It is a certification. It's an additional 211 hours after chiropractic school, or you can start while you're finishing up chiropractic school. How I started was, we've always had dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had dogs. My husband and I got a dog together who's still alive. She's almost 15. And when we first met. And in our first trimester of chiropractic school, one of our professors, one of my favorite guys in the world, Dr. Gene Giggleman, a veterinarian, he taught anatomy to the chiropractors. And, that was a tough class because he talked really fast. But he also had this really wonderful and bubbly personality. He had been at this school for so long and actually opened Dr. Parker allowed him to open his own little animal chiropractic practice on campus. So Friday afternoons, he would have a couple of students, select students, act as his vet techs, so to speak. But he only did chiropractic, he did animal vaccines, and he did like toenail clipping and stuff. And so
Interesting that he did vaccines.
Yeah, well, it wasn't as much of a hot topic as it is now.
Yeah.
But also realize veterinarians are very much ingrained in there, just like medical doctors are, right?
Yep. Yep.
So I don't hold it against veterinarians for not having any idea what the possibilities can be from that. So so my husband and I actually applied to be his vet techs. So from, I think, after trimester 1, we were able to start. Our chiropractic school is 10 trimesters, so from Tri 2 through Tri 10, we were able to work every Friday, most Fridays there as his vet techs, holding the dogs, seeing him adjust. Yeah. And then towards the end, like I think trimester 7 or 8, you could start doing the animal chiropractic program, which was over 6 months and a couple different long weekends. And it was incredible. It was incredible. He was one of the instructors. He basically brought animal chiropractic to Parker University and allowed people to come from all over. So we learned alongside veterinarians. We were taught by chiropractors and veterinarians, which is actually a huge point to what I do. If I were to talk to a veterinarian, I would be like, look, I actually learned from veterinarians and I learned what's safe to do for me or what's your realm, really. And so it was really a very comprehensive education regarding animals and regarding chiropractic. So I really loved that course for sure.
That's amazing. And so when we were talking, there was somebody else in the conversation, it doesn't really matter, but they were asking you about this. And one of the things that you said when, at this meeting that we were at was horses, like their reaction to chiropractic is very different than dog reactions. Yeah. And so go into that and explain that. I just think that's really cool. Yeah.
So dogs they're not prey animals. They prey on animals, right? You can tell even by their teeth. Like their teeth are designed to rip meat apart, right?
Yeah.
So when they react to something, they're gonna tell you. They're gonna use their mouth or their teeth to tell you as well. So their reaction to something hurting them, maybe an adjustment, because it can hurt because they're stuck. They're not moving there. It can hurt, so they might turn around and try to nip at you. Or so they're gonna use their mouth. They might yelp. They might, dogs you have to work with them. They love it afterwards. They'll come back and they'll give me kisses and they'll just like show me that they appreciate how much better they feel. Their owners can see it too. Yeah. With horses, you can see also by their teeth. This is why I bring it up, because you look at our teeth, look at their teeth, look at everybody's teeth. They're flat. They're prey animals. They eat grasses and everything, and they don't they can react, but they're more scared. They're not gonna do the biting at like, of course, but
Yeah.
but like they're not going to go and like attack
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
for that, right? So they're gonna run away and be scared. Well, horses also can sense. I don't remember who told me this, but they can sense. They can hear your heartbeat from up to 10 feet away.
That's so amazing.
And so they can sense your energy, and all horse
Mhm.
owners know that. They can
Mhm.
sense what you're coming up to do to them. So I come up, I totally clear my heart before I go and
Mhm.
approach a horse, and I let them know, and I tell them in words
Mhm.
that I'm here to help them.
Mhm.
And horses will totally relax with that. And then you have to take some time with them sometimes to let them know that you're there to assist them and to make them feel better. Through the adjustment, they usually just take it and they're like, oh, that felt good, and they'll just go to okay, and the horse owners will be like, oh, they really like that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that chiropractic can do. It can cause a little pain if there's a stuck area, but just like it would on us, and then you're like, oh, that feels so much better. You know, so it's very much the same in that way. Horses do they react way differently, I think, than other animals do.
It's kind of amazing to me because you're a small person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and the horses, obviously, 1,200 pounds plus, big animals and big muscles. How do you get in through the musculature, essentially, right? I mean, how does that work to
Good question.
adjust?
Yeah. So it's all comes down to our training and understanding biomechanics of the spine and biomechanics of their movement. Same thing for humans. I mean, if I move you a certain way, you're going to resist me, and you won't let me. Your body won't let the adjustment happen. If I move you in a certain way that your body is meant to move and relaxes you, the adjustment will happen without me even really trying. That's the key, is really understanding the body, whether it's a horse, a dog, a human, so well that it doesn't have to be rough. It doesn't have to be. And with a horse, we're trained in different ways. So you might say, how would I adjust a horse? How would I get up there? Well, I'm not going to go and sit on its back. That would be a bad idea. We have these, you can use a bale of hay, not as sturdy, but we've had specially designed bales of marine quality foam, so it's hard but light, and then it's covered with vinyl. So I have a couple of those bales, and I use those to stack up and climb on top of, and then I can get directly on top of a horse's back and adjust it. That way, if it does feel like the need to run away or escape from where, because some horses are skittish, as you might know, it can go.
I've been on the back of a horse when it got skittish and needed to go.
Yeah.
I wasn't there for long, but
yeah, exactly. So we're taught to not to, we center our body weight over it, but we're not like leaning onto the horse so much that we're gonna fall if the horse goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all about biomechanics, knowing the angle at which to approach it so that the adjustment can happen, and without causing, more tension to build up, right? Goes for humans, goes for dogs, goes for horses. So yeah, it's all about the angle and knowing where to go.
Are there areas of the horse that can't be adjusted?
Let's see. When you think about getting adjusted, do you think about anything other than the spine, or what do you think about?
I think mostly spine and neck, but I know you can do shoulders and wrists and legs, and all of those things can be adjusted.
Yeah, so I would go with every joint can be adjusted, with the exception of the junction where C7 comes to like T1, T2 is usually hidden at that area because of the conformation of the horse, right? So that's usually an area that we can't get to, but C6, C7 can be adjusted depending on the horse, right? And how we move the horse. So yeah, and then all the joints. So every joint of the leg, of the arm, the leg, I'm using very simple terms here to explain, but every joint we can move. And the more that you know about the horse's anatomy, same with humans, you can get those bones moving. Even if it's not a movement that you were kind of taught, you can say, well, this bone is meant to move or slide or glide or have that motion, so we can get more motion into it, and then the horse will feel a lot better.
Cool. Very cool. So I want to get to the dogs, but I do have another question about the horses.
Yeah.
It's smart, right, for ourselves to have regular adjustments, right? It just is kind of maintenance, is what we should do. Same with animals, certainly. What have you found? So, what are the things that you have seen that have been helpful besides just like lameness or discomfort, right? Horses also have an emotional aspect to them and feelings and energies about them, and so there's a word I'm looking for. Because in dogs and us, I'm thinking anxiety, right?
Yeah.
And so horses can also have, these issues. Yeah. What do you see change? How do you see the change besides the teeth and the do you notice stuff like that?
Yeah, there's so much. You can see them relax.
Yeah.
I mean, you can definitely see them relax. It's really up to the horse owner to tell like that much of a difference, because I'm just going to see a snapshot, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I have worked with some horses longer term, and it depends. You actually asked something about like how frequently, in a way. It depends on how much the horse is using for what, right? So a racehorse or a horse that's demanded a lot of, I would do very consistent adjustments on that horse.
Yeah.
At least check it, right? So when I say check, it means look at the spine, feel the joints, and see what's necessary. But they're going to have more rigorous demands on their body, and so they're going to need more rigorous care. More intensive care, I should say.
Yeah.
And then for we're looking at other horses, like some quarter horses who just are used for like rides or trail rides. Might see a lot of different things on those horses. They may not have much anxiety because they have just such a relaxed life.
Boring.
Yeah, I mean they're not. They don't have a lot of stress in their lives. So you may not need to get them adjusted as frequently. I've gone to a bunch of roping events in Oklahoma, and so you see a lot of different things. They demand a lot of different things of those horses, and you do see different subluxations.
Yeah,
right? You see different issues in their neck and their spine because of the things that they're taught to do.
It's so intense. Yeah.
So, I would say that there's a lot of variety in how frequently and also the kind of care that they need, depending on what their tasks are, right?
Yeah.
And that comes with us as well. Like if you're sitting a lot, I'm going to see different things on you than if you're a runner or cycler or mom, right? So a lot of different things I can see to answer your question.
Yes.
Okay.
You did. So I was watching. I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook, except I have gotten a little bit hooked on some of the reels, because the reels are how I can do things with my home.
Yeah.
It's the DIYs on my home, and they're quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not a scroller, but it's the reels and then the animal things, right?
Yeah.
And so they just make me really happy and gives me a little downtime. But I came across one that was, because I have never seen a chiropractor work on animals.
Yeah.
Surprisingly enough, but there's a reel came up where the chiropractor was like, watch the reaction of the dogs.
Yep.
It was amazing and intense, because they're like,
yeah. Sometimes they're just like, what just happened here?
And you can hear, obviously, like anything else, you could hear in the videos, you could hear the bones, and the dogs were like, what the F did you just do? And then though, after that, they would start to wag their tail, and everything was happy. But it's kind of amazing, because you're watching this, and he's like almost bent them in half. You're like, holy smokes, how crazy cool is that?
It is impressive to watch, for sure. I will tell you, in my experience, there's not a lot of audible adjustments for animals. Not a lot. It's not that.
Maybe I just heard it in my head then. I don't know.
They use microphones, number one,
sure.
and they'll place them real close to the spine. But it's not, and some of these videos that I've seen are, from Europe, and they may not have a certification, so you have to be careful what you're looking at. But a lot of them, some that I've seen that are well known from over there, or Australia, New Zealand, they don't have the certification, but they also just are going for a crack or a pop, and that's not necessary.
Yeah.
I get amazing results, and I'm not listening for that. I'm feeling the bone move. I have to feel it move, and I don't have to hear that it happened. I know that it happened because I don't feel it there anymore. I don't feel the stuck, let's call it the stuck vertebra, the stuck joint anymore. So yeah, that's one thing I'd say watch out for. But it is amazing how they relax. I mean, the dogs, they feel anything. They'll, especially when I touch them compared to just like their owner touching them. It's a different response because I know exactly where to go, and I feel their joints, and I actually challenge it. I challenge their joints to say, is that stuck or not? And when they feel that, they're going to be like, hey, that actually doesn't feel good.
Right. Well, and the same with us. You know, I have who I have been using. He'll feel around and everything's fine. He's like, does that hurt? I'm like, yeah, it does. Which I didn't know it hurt until you pushed on it.
Yeah.
And so they can't tell us, but you can feel it.
Yeah, and we can feel it. And that's something else. I think animal chiropractic has deepened my ability to detect subluxation on humans, and I mean even babies, because I don't need the affirmation verbally. I don't need that at all. And most good chiropractors don't. We have just such a developed sense of touch. And so, but I can do it without hurting as well. That's the other thing, is because it's so developed, I don't have to elicit a pain response to make you know that it hurts or that it's there. I can just go ahead and fix it. Like if I'm gonna feel it, let's just go fix it. And then it goes actually quite quickly, and we don't need, like I said, we don't need to have the audibles all the time. But you know, it is fun and it's good for social media. I mean,
it got my attention for sure.
Yeah, but even babies, human babies, like there shouldn't be audibles on these adjustments necessarily. There are sometimes, right? There are, but that's not what I'm doing it for. I'm not doing it until I hear an audible adjustment. I'm doing it to move the bone, and then places relax. You can see that in animals. You can see that in babies and humans. You can see that. So it's a very like you give and you see, and you give and you see, and you can see the changes right away.
So fun.
Yeah.
So my sister-in-law is a chiropractor, not animals, but so she is obviously a full believer, and so she has a dog, a boxer, really beautiful boxer, but had a really terrible start to life. Right. So lots going on, and lots of anxiety, and lots of aggression, and has become the great dog. They've got a daughter, our niece, and they're like inseparable, right? But what she did, though, which really I just hadn't thought about it as much as I should up until that point, but she was like, as soon as we got him adjusted, his anxiety just totally tanked. Yeah.
It can happen.
Yeah.
It can happen.
So talk about that a little bit.
It's just one of those side effects. So chiropractic, whether you're talking about for animals or humans, it is affecting the nervous system. And if we're talking about the nervous system, we can talk more about what is it. It's your brain, and then extension of that is your spinal cord, and extension of that is all the nerves that go and operate your body, whether it's muscles or organs, sensation, everything. So because it directly affects your brain, and there are studies that have shown how one single adjustment affects the brain directly. I mean, it can cause changes in emotions. It can cause changes in how you're thinking, how your brain's processing. It can cause changes in balance. I mean, all usually for the better. So these are things that I've seen firsthand many times. So for all of us, say we have a subluxation, essentially the way that I see it is very, basic, I suppose, but I see it as it's kind of just shutting that nerve off, right? To a degree. And so if you're doing that, whether you have pain or not, you're not getting the signals to wherever that nerve is supposed to go. So that can impact brain function. It can impact organ function, right? So we think about, why do we have GI issues? Well, there are a lot of reasons why we can have GI issues, but what if we have, as part of the story, a subluxation, right? Things are out of whack, and you're like, why does my belly hurt? Or actually, what we do is we blame it on food. Why does this food hurt my belly? And it could be in part that, but
that's why, for me and what I do, it's always about what is actually going on. What's the root cause of this situation, of your symptoms? I wish I could do everything.
but you're right, because you're talking about food, and that's the first thing I would go to as well. If somebody comes to me with a digestive issue, yes, it's food, and we have a lot of training on food and nutrition in school.
That's so great, because medical school does not.
They don't have it at all.
No.
Unless they seek it afterward, which we've seen. But we have a lot of education on nutrition. Some people go even further into it, as I have, but it is. Is it your subluxation? Is it your spine and your digestive system is not getting the information it needs to function? And that can go for anything. It can go for fertility. It can go for heart. It can go for lungs. It can go for your brain. I mean, all of these things. And it doesn't just have to be at the level that it comes out of your spine. So like T8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like all of these. It doesn't have to be those. It can be higher up in your neck. So people are like, oh, just don't adjust my neck. Well, no, it's going to get adjusted, because that is where the signal goes from your brain through that area to the rest of your body. It is very important.
Yeah.
And there are so many things I was thinking about when you were talking.
How many directions can we go?
So I mean, yes, it can. We very simply, you're talking about the nerve not working or not getting all the information, and in a talk with a patient, I might explain it's like stepping on a garden hose, right? You're not going to get the flow of water out. Maybe a little bit, maybe 50% will come out, maybe 10% will come out, or maybe 90%, but you don't know, and why would you want anything less than 100%? Right. So you definitely want to make sure that you're getting checked often, so that, because we have life that happens, we have life, we have stress, we have food that stresses us as well. So why wouldn't we want to get checked? Why wouldn't we want to make sure our body is functioning at 100% all the time, instead of waiting until it's painful or not functioning and then trying to fix it? That's way harder.
It is. What I love about the garden hose analogy is, what we hear, when we, do our own our education and conferences, is the downstream effects, right?
Yeah. So
you think about, though, the reason you have a garden hose is to water your garden. So if you only have partial water coming out, what's happening downstream? Well, the rest of the stuff is not getting enough water. So it's not going to grow. It's not going to work. And you're not going to get all that you are supposed to get out of that garden. Exactly. And so anyway, I think it's just a great analogy, because so much can happen if that
as a
hose
result of that
is kinked.
Yeah. And symptoms are usually that. Like, we have to find the cause, the root cause of it.
Yeah. So one of the things that I wanted to hit a little bit more on the dog stuff, because my assumption is you do more dogs than you do horses.
I do, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't own any horses, so I'm not always in that world, but I love it when I get to. It's my favorite thing to do, really. But I love adjusting dogs. Dogs they're so common here. Like, everyone has one, and I see them walking out, which is outside, which is nice.
It always makes you smile, right?
Makes
Dogs
me smile,
always make you smile.
And I watch them, and because I see things that other people
don't
see,
I bet.
I'm just like, oh, you need to get adjusted, or this would help you walk longer, or there's a dog with like the little wheels going on in the back. You know what I mean? They're like on a little doggy wheelchair. I'm like, we could probably do something, to help. I think that, every dog could use it. It just, some people only bring their dogs in when they have an issue, which is usually later in life. So one of my favorite sayings, and it was about babies, human babies, but it goes for animals too. It's way easier to grow a healthy kid than to fix an injured adult.
Yes.
And there's so much more work to be done. It's more expensive. But if you were to get chiropractic care for your animal, for your baby, from a very young age, or even just young in general, going forward, you'd be able to prevent a lot of the problems that happen in middle age and in later life. And like I said, it goes for animals, but I see animals come in at 10, 11 years old with their legs aren't working. And 98% of the time in my practice, I've been able to see them regain function of their hind legs. But sometimes it's gone on too long. Sometimes it's just happened. There's been too many it's like a repetitive stress injury. it just happened over too many years, and I can't get full function back. And it's just the body. Like it's whatever the body is able to do and heal. You know. So it's not me, but it's the body. Yeah.
Well, and it's gonna compensate, right?
Yeah.
And so if it's got too much pressure in one place and not enough in another place, it's gonna compensate for that. And whether it's, you know, breaking down or building up, you know, excessive calcium or you know, arthritis and the breakdown, whatever the case may be, the body's going to compensate. And I think too, when we are, and I think about my husband, you know, he broke his, it was a compound fracture, tib-fib compound fracture back years ago. And so it was ugly, so ugly, yeah. But his gait is off.
Yeah.
And so what's that going to do is his right foot, so, you know, could be possibly his left hip is going to be wonky. And, you know, so it's all of the, and it's, I can't talk, what is wrong with me? It's it's fused, so there are things that we can do to support it.
Yeah.
But it's just going to be wonky because it's fused, and it wasn't fused great, unfortunately. Point to all of that is that affects everything up.
Going up. Absolutely. Yeah. And so, like, it's just about biomechanics. And you know, everyone's biomechanics are a bit different, but if he's used to walking evenly on both feet, and then one foot is now fused or not able to do a full step, it's going to affect the other leg. It's going to affect that leg as well. The muscles will atrophy in different areas.
For sure.
And then you're also going to, because you're not walking evenly, it's almost like having one leg shorter than the other, either functionally or you know. So you're actually going to cause more problems in the hips, and then all the way up the spine. You're going to see a lot of different issues. So
you should see his shoes.
They're worn differently, aren't they? They're worn differently, and you can, and that's actually, like, I could see someone's shoes and I could say, what do you have going on in your knee or your ankle or whatever, right? Because it's a sign that there's an imperfect, uneven. Let's just see an uneven gait. Yeah.
And so the same can happen with, not to necessarily that degree, but if there's something that's not functioning properly on one hip of a dog, it's going to impact the rest of the biomechanical
body
structure, essentially, right? And so over years and years and years, which is why I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I need you to come take care of my girls. But you just think about, you know, if there is that consistent problem, and I think at the same time, if there's a consistent, whether it's a subluxation or whatever, the body's always going to push stuff to that place to try to heal it and fix it, and it can begin to be too much, right?
Well, so the body's always trying to heal, right? And so we just have to give it a chance, and that's why allowing the nerve flow to work properly in that area, it allows nerve flow. Usually blood flow is restored as well. And you know, for that, the body is like able to go back and heal that area to whatever degree it can, right? If the body has already fused an area or joints together by itself, which happens a lot in humans on their neck, happens a lot in dogs on their lower back, sometimes in their neck, but it's been stuck for too long, and that means that, hey, we could have had an effect on this before the body was, you know, doing its healing mechanism of trying to make it better. There's a lot I could say about that, especially about the human neck. I mean,
well,
that for a while.
That's one of the things that and so let's do. But that's one of the things that I always try to, whether I'm talking with my clients or my patients or on the show or whatever, is ultimately all the body wants to do is to protect us. Everything that it does, whether if we're having symptoms or pain or whatever, what I hope to help with people is to flip the script a little bit. Instead of saying, why does my body hate me? What's going on? Why does the food hate me? Why is my body against me? Why do I have this pain? Why is my body trying to protect me?
What is your body telling you?
Yes.
It's
always talking.
It's always talking to you and giving you those symptoms that you experience or animals experience. Those are all alarms going off. And the body, I mean, to a different degree, right? When a kid comes in with eczema, that's an alarm. That's not, oh, I have a rash, or let's cover it with cream. That's an alarm from the body, saying it's dealing with something. And if you're not wise to know where to go with that, then you're gonna just cover it up with a cream. Or pain. Pain is huge. People love to dim down their pain with Advil, Tylenol, things like that, which actually do some damage in the body, right, to our organs, and especially with prolonged use. But I mean, I wouldn't even take those pregnant at all. I don't take them now, but I wouldn't.
No. So real quick, I say this a lot, but I want to say it because you brought it up. I was listening to a podcast this years ago, but it was this doctor said, every time you take Advil, your liver bleeds a tablespoon.
I would believe that.
Put that in your head and hold on to it.
And do you need your liver to function?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty important.
So, I mean, those alarms are important, right? So, if you have a headache, you do what you want. I wouldn't take something to dim it. I would try to figure out why it's there.
Yeah.
Because it is an alarm from your body. If you have an ache in a joint, if you dim it, okay, this also goes for animals, and this is something I have to communicate whenever someone's like, can I give them their pain pills? So yes, you can give them your pain pills. Like, you got it from a vet, the vet it's a prescription, you can give yourself your pain pill. But let's think about what it's doing.
Yeah.
It's going to mute the alarm. It's going to snooze the alarm. And so if you snooze the alarm, you're gonna keep using your knee or keep using what's going on and what the alarm is meant for, right?
Yeah.
So if you have a pain in your knee and you're taking Advil for it, you're dimming the alarm, and then you're going to keep performing on it, and you're going to keep doing more damage, and then the alarm's going to come back on, and you're like, oh, I got to take more Advil because my knee hurts.
Yeah.
Or low back, or neck, or headache,
whatever
or anything.
It is. Yeah.
So you don't want to take a pain pill to cover up this alarm, because it's something that you have to pay attention to, and if you don't pay attention to it, you're going to have more injury. It's simple. And that's something that I explain to the animal owners that come to me as well. You can give them a pain pill. I mean, especially if it helps them sleep.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're not going
sleep
to
is restorative. Gotta sleep.
They're not going to be active on it. They're not going to be up and moving around on it and think they can run and play. Whereas, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, you can use your own judgment, right? Pain pills are not, you have to take them ever. I don't think.
Right.
I'm not a medical doctor. I will give that disclosure or a disclaimer. But I would say you don't ever have to take them. The animals don't ever have to take them. So use your own discretion as to whether it's absolutely necessary. I had a surgery on my hand after a dog bite, and I took some pain pills, but I wasn't up and trying to use it. It was for directly after the surgery.
Yeah.
And I honestly could not have.
That is intense.
Yeah, we can talk about that too.
Yeah.
I was bitten by a dog. I was bitten by a dog in Oklahoma while adjusting it.
That's what I was going to ask you.
And
okay.
I will tell you 100%, it wasn't the dog's fault. Dogs react because he was in pain, and the owner didn't tell me that area was a hot spot or a pain point for that dog, a previous injury. I could have had a muzzle on the dog, which is one of our biggest safety points. But for some animals, I'm comfortable adjusting without a muzzle, and that's just my preference. It's not what we're taught, but
you're taught to muzzle them. Yeah, I would assume so, especially if it's a dog you don't know.
I mean, I was, I blame myself. It was the end of a day. It was the very last patient, and he didn't react during any of his spinal adjustments. He didn't. And but then I went to his foot, and he did, and it was a learning process for me.
Sure.
I really love adjusting animals, and I do for the first, at least for the first couple, depending on the animal, I will put a muzzle on, and I'll explain. It's for my safety as well, but it is their natural. It's their natural response to stop it, to bite, to whimper, to do some kind of reaction if it's painful.
Sure.
So I don't blame the dog. Yeah.
No, I mean, that's the stuff. It sucks when things like that happen. Certainly, especially as severe as something like that is. But I think it's a rare day that we can truly blame animals for the things that they do.
It's their nature.
Yeah.
In certain aspects.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
So let's do this. There were a couple of things that you wanted to talk about when it comes to the neck.
Okay.
And so anything, we've only got 10 minutes, which
that was fast.
It's so fast, isn't it? It's
fast.
always really fast.
Yeah.
We could just sit and I don't know. know. I don't know, Henry. Maybe we do a 2-hour show. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, anything that you want to hit on that I think is important that we haven't, and then we're just gonna plan another show.
Yeah, I mean, I can actually didn't think about this time, but I could come back and bring a couple of images or props in essence to explain this better.
Great.
But
we can bring a dog.
We can bring a dog too. But I really love talking about the curve of the neck because of the human neck because it's so important and most people don't think that we do need a curve in our neck. The curve of the neck is important. It should almost look like the shape of a banana. Okay, it's a curve, right? And our bones are actually designed to be in that conformation. And when they're not, only when they're not, and that means also subluxated. If there's a lack of a curve or straight, is when you get degeneration. We can also call that arthritis, and we can call that disc disease because that is the only time that these discs get upset or aggravated. And it's very, very clear if I were to show you some pictures and how it happens because you kind of look at it and you're like, right, well the upper neck looks okay, but the lower neck is just degenerating.
Yeah.
And so you might say like, so how old is that joint? And how old is that joint? Oh, they're both 53. So they should they should both look healthy.
Yeah.
Well, we actually, if we can get a curve back, which is what my husband and I are very passionate about, is getting that curve as much back as we can. We can restore it. And we can see these symptoms go away. We can see the bones actually start to they will stop progressing into degeneration and they will start to kind of go back to more functional use. I mean, even the discs can kind of, we can actually see some disc space created.
Amazing.
And medical doctors won't say that is possible. I've heard this many times. They've told their patients, why would you even try that? It won't happen. Well, it does. We see the differences on x-ray. And so we can it definitely, like I said, takes longer time to fix adults once we've gotten to that phase. But imagine my daughter's neck, so my daughter's 10, she has this perfect curve and she's gonna go, and we don't do if we do screen time, we don't do screen time like this.
Right.
Okay? This is incredibly important because text neck or tech neck is a real thing, and she's not gonna have that problem because she's educated from a young age, right? Yeah. And because we're there for her to coach her through that, but she's going to go into her 20s with a curve that's pretty ideal. And then let's just maintain that. Yeah. I mean, it's not a hard thing to do, but we got to also see kids when they're younger so to get there. Because I've seen kids who are 6 with a completely straight neck.
Oh, goodness.
And there's a lot of things that go into that. I'll just touch on a couple.
Yeah.
Crawling is a very, very important thing as a baby, and we can't underestimate it. Okay. I want to say the American Academy of Pediatrics has taken that off as a developmental milestone. In the last couple of years, and
that's amazing.
It blew all of the chiropractors I know were just lit up from this because it's so important. It drives your frontal lobe development. It drives your ability to reason. Judgment, all of these things that we have is like our higher brain function. It drives that ability. It also drives. So crawling is usually called this cross crawl motion, and it teaches our body to do this thing like run. That's a cross crawl motion as well. But it teaches us. It drives that frontal brain development. It brings your neck up, and it keeps this curve. So if you imagine a baby's crawling position, their head is up, and it allows them to look back to either side. And if they skip crawling,
I didn't know that was even a thing to skip crawling.
Well, think about it. Parents can be. I was almost like that, but I'm like, no, you're gonna crawl. You're not gonna walk. So parents are really like, oh, they're precocious. They're wanting to walk at 7-8 months. Well, it is precocious, but developmentally, we need them to crawl. We need them to crawl. We need them to develop their brain in the frontal lobe area, especially because a lot of things require that. So, yeah. So
what is it? This is kind of rhetorical.
That's okay.
What is it about conventional medicine that not that I'm demonizing conventional medicine. We have to have it to a degree,
Mm-hmm.
but that has this notion, this thought, this idea that it's okay to take away the things that are normal and natural to us. So crawling, gallbladders, appendix,
Yeah.
tonsils. These things that are here and that are we're supposed to have and supposed to do and is supposed to experience. Like, nah, I don't really need
Don't
that.
need that anymore. It's not working, so may
Yeah.
as well take it out. Yeah. I don't know how much I can speak to that, but I'll say what I can.
Well,
I'll say what I can.
Yeah.
I'll say that tonsils are an immune organ.
Uh-huh.
So if they're inflamed and red, there's a reason why.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those alarms.
It's
right?
it's your body talking to you. There's
and
a reason.
There's a
for
reason.
It.
It's not let's take them out.
Mm-hmm.
Gallbladder. If your gallbladder is upset or not functioning right, it means that there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And you can heal it.
Yes.
You can heal it. I've seen it done.
Mm-hmm.
You can heal. I've seen one of our good friends in Tulsa has healed himself of diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like adult onset type 2 diabetes.
Yep.
Because of how he's choosing to eat and understanding his body, and doctors don't believe that it's possible.
Oh, it's amazing. I'm like, of course it is. Lifestyle.
Yeah.
8% of the stuff that we deal with on a regular basis is lifestyle. It's our choice.
It's choice, and we too often are taught in this day and age that we can take a pill or we can do something quick, like take out your gallbladder or your tonsils to fix it. It is not fixing it. And so instead of speaking about the medical industry in that way, I would say to just empower you to think about it and really question whether taking out an organ that we were made with that was working well at one point, maybe we can use it still, right? And maybe there at one point we didn't understand what the appendix is for, but there are reasons that we have it. And I don't think that current medical techniques understand how to keep them or guide us toward healing. Like you said, there's a purpose for modern medical technology, and I'm very grateful for it, especially given my right. When I was born, if I didn't have surgery, I would not have lived, and that's because of a defect within my organs. There's a purpose for it, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about a body that's showing signs of an illness, of sickness, there are ways to cure it, and those are things that I've explored in my practice and with other practitioners, alongside other practitioners, so that we can really make a change for people, right?
Yep.
Pregnancy is a big one too. Pregnancy shouldn't be feared. It should be embraced and should be educated.
Yeah.
And we as women should be educating each other so that from a young age, my daughter has witnessed 3 home births, right?
That's
like from
so
a young
amazing.
age, she has a normalcy around birth that it's not always an emergency situation. And it can be, and I'm not making anything smaller. My brain is in Italian sometimes. I'm sorry. There's words that come out that aren't English.
I love that.
So I'm not making anything smaller for women who have these emergency issues during pregnancy and birth. It's just that it's not a norm. The norm is that pregnancy is not fully painful. It can be a joyous experience. It can be calm. The baby doesn't have to cry when the baby comes out of. I mean, my mom was shocked when she witnessed her first home birth at my house.
Amazing.
She's like, but the baby isn't crying, and she's peaceful, and it was dim, and she wasn't. It wasn't traumatic.
Yeah.
And she had no idea because of all the TV and movies and things that we see educate us in a way that is dramatic.
Yeah.
And it gives drama. And that's what we're wanting to see because we're paying to see a movie or whatever. It's not always like that.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to share that with other people, So women, and we're talking about so many different topics now.
I know. Well, and that kind of leads me to, we can wrap it up, but women, we need to talk to each other more anyway, whether it's about starting our period, getting pregnant, birth control pills, perimenopause, menopause, These are things that are more being talked about, but not as much. I mean, women are, I mostly see women, and women are so often surprised at what their body's doing. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
But then how can we manage it, right, and address it? And again, going back to when we have these significant symptoms, that's not normal.
Yeah, like massive menopause symptoms aren't normal either. It shouldn't happen like that. So I mean, I love being that person that I can either refer to a practitioner like yourself or someone who is educated in helping foster this education and knowledge and healing, or I can be that person to educate as well, right? And I do have a variety of topics I can speak with an educated mind on.
Awesome. Cool. Well, this was super fun. Thank you.
A lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
Always so fun talking about dogs. They are the best. And I'm going to get on your schedule for my 3 girls soon, like immediately.
Absolutely. We can do next week if you want.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
So let's do that. If you have, where can you be found? Tell everybody how they can find you.
So our practice is called Empower Healing, and it is out of Symmetry Collective in Wheat Ridge. Our website is empowerco.me, so like empowercolorado.me, and that's probably the best way to find us. We have a Facebook page. We're working on it. I'm not a social media expert by any means.
It's so hard.
So but this is wonderful. I mean, I hope to be able to share this podcast and just about what we're talking about for
good
on everything.
Good. Is there? I mean, chiropractic is always hands-on. Is there anything that you do virtually?
I do a couple things virtually. I do a motion code and body code, which they were developed by a chiropractor. You can just look them up to see what they are, but I do those sessions virtually and over the phone depending on what we need to do. I can do kind of a consult on where we can go with our treatment, because in our practice we have not only chiropractic, but we have what is called an ozone generator, because we use ozone a lot. So ozone is wonderful. We've seen it heal a lot of things. I'm certified in using ozone from Dr.
It's okay.
Anyway, I'm certified in using ozone from one of the leaders in ozone therapy for the last 40 years. And then we also have what is called a Rife frequency machine. I don't use the word Rife very often because it actually is very helpful at treating things that modern medicine likes to treat and make a lot of money off of. So, but we have a lot of great success using that for many, many different ailments. We use it in our home and we use it at our practice. And we have a PEMF mat with infrared heat, hot stone therapy, and photon therapy. Cool. So it's a really comprehensive kind of shavasana feeling afterward. It does feel healing just to sit on for 20 minutes even.
Awesome.
So we do a lot of
all the cool things.
We do a lot of things,
Man, I love the amazing therapies that are so regenerative, but seem so simple.
They are simple. That actually is always the answer, right? Just things that are just, your body just needs something that's kind of mimicking it, like homeopathy does that. I mean, it's instead of really hurting it, it's actually helping it and supporting it.
Yeah. Agreed. Cool. All right, so reach out to Dr. Danielle if you have needs, questions, especially if you are in the Wheat Ridge area. This is a global podcast, but you can also, anybody who is in this field, in this world, is here to be a resource and a guide, and that's really all we want to do. So if you have questions, reach out to her, reach out to me. We can always do our best to guide you the best way possible. You can find me at tastelifenutrition.com for the website. You can fill out a free assessment, and I'll chat with you about that. And kind of the same thing, if there's a way that I can support you, awesome. If not, then I will refer you, because I have got a list of amazing people and practitioners that I have access to.
I need to know about that too, but I'm new to the area.
Yeah. So, just join us. I just lost talk about a brain fart. Like, it just happens a lot. Anyway, find us here every Thursday, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, where we always are bringing on just people who do amazing things and are here out of love and of service. I think that to date, every single person I've brought on is an entrepreneur and has a really cool story.
Great.
And truly is here to be of service. And so I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful to have met you.
Yeah, same.
And yeah, let me know if there's anything that we can talk about that you have questions about. And we'll see you next week. No, maybe, yes. Actually, I'm in a conference, but I'll be here because I have a guest. But we'll see you next week, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, streaming live on KUHSdenver.com. See y'all later. All right.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.